What's up, everybody? This is CN Sanders, aka Mr. Sanders, and I'm here to give my little review of this here Night of Champions. Now, if you're wondering why I did not have a review for last week's TNA pay-per-view, I was busy. My family, we decided to all go out to dinner, and well, that took up most of the time that we could have gone to a pay-per-view. But the pizza at Shakey's was actually quite nice, so I don't regret it that much. But anyway, on to the actual things. I'm gonna tell you this now. Like, the beginning match, I think it's a little better than I gave it credit for. Because here's the thing. I got Tekken Tag Tournament 2 yesterday, and I've been trying to get better at it, and playing the arcade version a little bit. And the arcade version in that game, even on easy mode, is balls-sweatingly difficult. So I was just trying to beat it as fast as possible before the pay-per-view, and I was actually still playing it about 2 minutes into the pay-per-view. But after about 100 minutes, I actually managed to pull it off. But that's besides the point. The first match on the card was The Miz, the Intercontinental Champion of the World, facing Rey Mysterio, Cody, Rhodes, and Cara in a four-way for the Intercontinental Championship. This was actually a fun match for what it was. I liked the spots they had where it would always be 2-on-1 in some way or another, whether it would be Mysterio and Cara on Rhodes or Miz and Rhodes against Mysterio or Cara, and I liked the kind of hectic chaoticness of it all. And the thing I loved most about this match was the ending. This whole time, Cody Rhodes has been supposed to be obsessed with masks once again. Sort of to the point of Chris Jericho status in their feud a couple of years ago. And out of nowhere, Cara pulls an extra mask out of his tights and tries to put it on Cody Rhodes. He fails at putting it on. He even botched putting on another man's mask. That's weird. And later on, when Miz set him up for a Sin Cara up for a powerbomb, he tried putting the mask on Miz, and then Miz, completely blinded, just sort of went out of the way. Rhodes hit. Rhodes was about to do something to Sin Cara. He got out of the way. He ended up knocking Cody Rhodes down, and even with that mask covering his eyes, he still hit the skull-crushing finality on Sin Cara and won the match. It was actually kind of a cool, chaotic finisher, and I actually did really enjoy this match. But again, I might not have been in the best of moods, and I gotta say, the most disappointing thing about this match was that Mysterio versus Sin Cara, the segments that they had like that, they weren't actually that good. It kind of felt like, when you look at it, it's like Sin Cara was very, very clearly taking instructions from Mysterio, and it really does take you out of the match to see that. But anyway, for a good short match, I thought it was good. I gave it a 7 or an 8. It could go one way or the other, and I'm sure a lot of people will vote it up higher because they weren't in the same mindset as I was. The next match was Kane and Daniel Bryan versus R-Truth and Kofi Kingston for the Tag Team Championships of the World. And the thing about the Kane and Daniel Bryan, I'll admit they've gone a little too goofy with this, but I still think it's really funny. If you can, go back and look at a scene called Kane and Anger Management, and because there's one scene where Kane is telling his life story, and with a straight face, he goes through everything, and it is the funniest thing you will ever hear. But as for this match, it pretty much came down to R-Truth and Kofi Kingston being a punching bag for Daniel Bryan and Kane. It is sort of sad that the tag team match was this tag team match was essentially used as a way of just continuing the sort of feud between Kane and Daniel Bryan, as they ultimately ended up beating R-Truth and Kofi Kingston. R-Truth and Kofi Kingston did not get a good chance to properly look good, and it kind of felt just like a ragdoll match, just Kane and Daniel Bryan working with anything. And unfortunately, R-Truth and Kofi Kingston weren't really over with the Boston crowd. They got no reaction. Even so, Kane, and the ending still fits with the sort of feud between Kane and Daniel Bryan, in which Daniel Bryan kicks Kane, who's on the top rope, and pushes Kane onto a fallen Kofi Kingston where he gets the pin. And your new tag team champions of the world, Kane and Daniel Bryan. Yes or no, depending on how you want to see it. And I'll admit, this was a little too goofy. Like, they're saying, and I'm sure someone's going to be saying Kane, they're turning Kane back into a joke. But I'm going to say, at least they're turning him into a funny joke. You know. The thing is, like, because the one I think I want to mention is later on there's a segment where Daniel Bryan and Kane are arguing, like, backstage saying, I'm the tag team champions. No, I'm the tag team champions. And yeah, that's super goofy. AJ Lee comes out saying, nah! I think she orgasmed on camera. It looked that way. And, like, she started talking to Daniel Bryan, and out of nowhere, Kane fucking pours Gatorade all over Daniel Bryan. And I'll never forget what he said. He said, I'm going to Disney World! Oh my god, I started laughing so fucking hard at that. But the match itself, as I said, it was sort of a ragdoll match. Its importance and storyline is probably the best thing. You can tell this is just supposed to be a middle-of-the-road thing, and it's more... You're more supposed to wonder, where is this going to go, as opposed to, wow, this was a great spot. So, for me, it was about a 6. I would not call this a bad match. It was super goofy, and for a lot of people, I can understand that, you know, being entertaining for them. The next match was for the United States Championship. Antonio Cesaro versus Zack Ryder. Now, what you could very clearly tell about this crowd was that they were sort of the smart mark sort of crowd. Because during this match, Antonio Cesaro started getting Claudio chants. And right before he put him in that gotch finisher, whatever it's called, that awful finisher he has, you heard the entire crowd chant, Ricola! Man, I really wish he would use the Ricola bomb. His freaking, the gotch silencer, whatever it's called, it's kind of a crap finisher. This was a good match. Like, I liked a lot of the neat stuff they did together, and like, as always, Antonio's moves can look really, really vicious. He started doing a stomp, which just hurts to watch, you know. But this felt sort of like TV main event quality match. You know, it's a good match, but it's nothing that extraordinarily special. Antonio Cesaro retains. I gave it a 7. If you're wondering the reason why Zack Ryder was challenging Antonio Cesaro, it's because he won a Battle Royal in the pre-show. I sort of glimpsed at it. I had it on, but again, I was playing some Tekken Tag Tournament 2 and getting thoroughly frustrated at it. The next match, probably the second best match of the card. Randy Orton versus Dolph Ziggler. You know, for an event called Night of Champions, this one surprisingly had nothing to do with titles. I thought this was actually a pretty cool match. Ziggler actually got a lot of good offense in, and I like how they sort of played up this match as though both guys could have been faces, as opposed to the usual shtick where Orton tries to fail at being a face while Ziggler is too well liked to be a heel. And they did a great job of displaying both guys, you know, strengths in this one. Not as much as a later match, but still, it was really cool and interesting to see a lot of the things they had. But I've seen Ziggler have better matches, and I've seen Orton have better matches. This was definitely a good match, and I liked the way it ended, and I liked the way it was paced. But I've seen better out of them. I gave it an 8. That's still a very good score, and I would definitely check out viewing the match. But you know, it's nothing incredible. Next match, worst match of the card. But then again, you just hear the words Divas match, and you kind of expect it. It's Eve Torres versus Layla. It's funny how as much of interesting offense as it had, because they actually had a lot of interesting offense in this match. It's just that very little of it had any meaning, and very little of it really felt like it had any kind of impact, to the point where it's like, oh, the match is ending? Oh, okay. Like, the most impactful thing is Eve's finisher, which I'll admit is a cool finisher. It's like, I think it was Santino's, like, rolling cutter thing. But yeah, largely unremarkable match. I wouldn't call it a bad match. It's just completely unremarkable. I gave it a 5. Eve Torres beats Layla with the rolling cutter for the win. Next match on the card, Sheamus versus Alberto Del Rio for the World Heavyweight Championship. Now, originally this was coming into the match with the stipulation, the bro kick is banned. But then Booker T comes out and says, yo, dogs, the bro kick ain't banned, suckers. Continue the match. And Sheamus kicks David Otunga in the face. Now, I actually think this would have been... I think they should have done this... Well, I think they should have done the angle of, like, not allowing the bro kick earlier, so that when they come to this match, that's when they pull it out, you know. Because I like the idea of having a match with no bro kick. It's like, you're limiting your one guy's offense, so he has to innovate his moves. He has to do something different, and he has to figure out a way to beat the opposition. And that could be very tense. Like, what's he gonna do? How is he gonna beat this guy? Everything else has failed, you know. And it could provide those moments of, oh no, you're not gonna do it. You can't. You're gonna lose the title. And you know, I didn't like that they chose to get rid of the stipulation. That being said, this was still a good match, definitely. I definitely like how Sheamus and Del Rio used really rough moves, and I loved how they both did a great job of just making each other look like tough motherfuckers, because they hit the crap out of each other, you know. And I love the psychology of a lot of the arm moves ADR would use, because then when he would actually put on the cross arm breaker, you would make it go, ah, you know, for lack of a better word. But I didn't like how Sheamus kind of no-sold it at the end. Like, you would think he would be, like, in agonizing pain after, like, a 20-second arm breaker. But, you know, he just sort of got up, hit the bro kick, and he wins. Yeah. Sheamus retains. Good match. You know, one of the better matches on the card, definitely. But if I was to rank it anything, I'd give it either a 7 or an 8. It's something sort of between. I think maybe if I had a better mindset for it, I think I might have enjoyed it just a little bit more. Now, just something I'm going to point out, but one thing I liked about this card, both the matches that were the main events were the title matches. How long has it been since that's actually been the case? I mean, I think this is the first time in months. Actually, I think this is the first time since last year where the main event has been a title match. Just run that through your head. Just run it, brother. But, yeah, main event, John Cena versus CM Punk for the WWE Championship. Now, I was not excited for this match in the slightest, because I was like, I've seen this too much, you know, and nothing can really compare to a lot of the impact that they had in their first match, where, you know, it was just the right crowd, the ending was so well done, the storyline around it was so well done, but I think they did a great job trying to follow that up. The biggest problem I have with a lot of Cena's matches and a lot of Punk's matches is that a lot of the offense starts to run together. And this is the reason I really, really enjoyed this match. They innovated. Fucking hell, you saw both the guys do things you've never seen them do. Fucking Cena did a tope suicida. Like, when has he ever done a tope suicida? Like, you saw CM Punk do a freaking top rope axe handle, something else out of Macho Man Randy Savage's book. You saw, like, Cena actually rush to do the fist drop instead of doing the 5-knuckle shuffle bullshit. You saw CM Punk, you know, bullshit around a lot less. You saw John Cena bullshit around a lot less, and they both pulled out a lot more moves, and it actually made every single moment of this match feel a lot more surprising. Like, he actually did a wrestling move? And it was actually really, really fun to watch because of this, and the crowd was so into it. And I think a topic for a lot of people, whether or not it hurt the match or bettered it, is going to be the ending. What happened was Cena did a second rope German suplex. Okay, not only did he do a move off the second rope, I'm sure that already stunned you, but he did a German suplex of all things. And his form was actually pretty crap. But, you know, at least he's trying. I'll give him that. And what I love is that after he did the tope suicida, you can hear people in the audience saying, you still suck. Like, kind of acknowledging, that was a good move, but you still suck. But the ending was, like, after he hit the second rope German suplex, Cena pinned CM Punk 1, 2, 3, but then the ref noticed, wait a minute, your shoulders were also on the ground. So this match is technically a draw. CM Punk retains, and the crowd was just like, oh shit, and Cena was just like, oh crap, and then CM Punk's like, wham, in the face with the belt of sadness, and then Paul Heyman's like, ha 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 ha, and they walk off the stage. I kind of expected AJ Lee to like just start like coming out, restart the match. But I guess she was too busy cleaning her cleaning her dress from when she got splashed with Gatorade. But anyway, yeah, this was a really enjoyable match. I gave it a 9. But I think they did kind of a poor choice in choosing to end it this way. Not necessarily because I think the match is worsened by it. I actually really like this finish, and I like how it kind of doesn't really display either guy as superior. Like, it's just like dumb luck. That's how you won, and this isn't over. But I'm just like, how are they really going to innovate this any further? If you do anything new, people are going to be expecting it, and then it's no longer going to be the surprise that it once was. And I don't think it's going to have the strength of storyline that it's going to need to be like such a shocking and strong moment that it was, like they did at Money in the Bank of last year. But still, great match. I gave it a 9. That's my score, and I'm gonna put it in the runnings for my little shtick of matches of the year. But anyway, so that was Night of Champions 2012. How was it? It was actually a pretty smooth pay-per-view. Like, say what you will about Kane and Daniel Bryan's little shtick. It was something very different, and even Eve's match was probably the worst, but hey, piss break. You get the choice of making Miz, Mysterio, Rhodes, and Sin Cara as the opening match was a very good one because it had the right type of pace to really put you into it. And with Kane and Daniel Bryan's more story-driven sort of match, it actually did give you that right type of calm you down but keep you interested. Cesaro and Ryder was a nice way of bringing you back up. Orton and Ziggler was a very good way of bringing you back up. And even though Eve Torres and Layla was not the good way to bring you down, but it did the right sort of thing so that you would be more well prepared for Sheamus and ADR. And Cena versus CM Punk, was the great match. Would I call this an amazing card? No. As I said, a lot of the matches, as I said before in other ones, you need a little more quality in that. Like, I think Sheamus and ADR should have been better. I think CM Punk and Cena, I think it was as good as it could have been for that one. Whether or not people will remember this as classic will really only be stand up to time, and that's something that I gave too much of an advantage for in the Hell in a Cell review I did earlier. Well, it's not a Hell in a Cell review, No Mercy review. And Ziggler versus Orton, I think my grade would have been different if I gave, if Orton just did a better job of making Ziggler look good, because it's once again, oh, of course, Orton had to win. Of course. But what would I grade this? This is going to be my first ambiguous rating of 7 or 8. Something like that. It's like, did I like it more than, say, Slammiversary? I don't get that vibe. Like, I think Slammiversary was probably a better show, in my opinion, even though I think this might have a better match than Slammiversary did. But is it better than Hardcore Justice and Over the Limit? Yeah, I'd say it is. So yeah, that's my score, 7 or 8. That's a rather ambiguous way of putting it, but yeah, that's how I view it. I hope you enjoyed my review, and I'll catch you guys later. This has been Mr. Sanders. Peace.